And we're live here. Welcome. Welcome, Mr. Hendrix. And thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. Let's start with a little background before diving into the details of your story. JR, could you tell our viewers a little about your early professional career and how you became involved in the Mark Christopher case? Well, I received my bachelor's degree in public affairs, which is a field created for me by the School of Mass Communications. Now, in said school, what was taught to me was this, and that was that public actors are shaped by public opinion, and as a result, it was through my undergraduate advisor, Andrew Harmon, as many of you know, was running for Congress, that I decided to do this. So, without any further ado, I decided it was time for me to talk more about it. What was your initial reaction when you first learned about the allegations in that case? Well, same as I say they are now. The allegations that were made by my father's attorneys and by the Schaefer Commission at the Texas Tech Law School, that indeed they are true. So you assert beyond a shadow of a doubt that the allegations are true, without doubt. They are true. Can you walk us through the harassment, intimidation that you and your family experienced? You forgive me, I don't feel led to tabloid my family's business out on the streets. But suffice it to say, has a lot to do with a feud that his cousin had with my father. And for that reason, he has been tailing me, and he has been trailing my wife. How did these events impact your wife? And what steps did you take to support her? My wife is harmed by the press scrutiny that is brought by this. And the fact of the matter is, our marriage has suffered some tough times as a result. Now, whether or not the district attorney sees any light on this, I don't know. Whether the Hendrix organization feels like it can file a viable suit, I don't know. All I know is this. My wife and I, we were traumatized by this guy, and that's the end of the story. What role did the district attorney play in the handling or mishandling of the case? What little I know is this. Professor Jack Bankhead, who I miss in his class just to talk to you about this, he's the one that turned in Mark Christopher with the tapes. Tapes? Yes, tapes. Other than that, I had no idea that they had placed Mark Christopher in custody for questions until I was already out of town for Houston. You mentioned the Texas Tech Law School and the Schaefer Commission. How did that connection come about? The Schaefer Commission was formed to investigate malfeasance based on problems with academic freedom, abuse of power, and as a result, they were looking at some of the professors. One thing they were looking at was something going on between Mark Christopher and some unknown researcher. I don't care to comment on that one. Professor Schaefer has been a mentor and supporter. Can you describe the influence he's had on your career in this case? Professor Schaefer taught me the subject of criminal law. Of course, he's also a big teacher in law and public affairs, constitutional law. I was told my senior year by fellow public affairs students that he was very intimidating. That is not what I saw. All he says is if you do the work and be prepared, you'll fit well in my class. As for his role in the case, I knew nothing about it until I had first-hand knowledge of it when I was on the way to Houston and when I read the papers Monday morning. In your view, were there systemic issues in the handling of the harassment and intimidation allegations? So far, nothing has ever been this egregious as it is now. It didn't start until the media onslaught at the beginning of last month, and now the onslaught has come, in fact, further in our door. What challenges did you face in bringing attention to those issues publicly? I never asked anyone to make a challenge presented. I never asked for any trouble. I never asked for any problems with Mark Christopher. How did you navigate the pressure from both legal authorities and media coverage during this period? The legal authorities didn't get started until this month. I was only half aware. Now, the media pressure that's been going on since last month, my belief is that the professor, he started it. He brought on an improper relationship, and he brought on the abuse of power. Were there any particular moments when you felt the situation could spiral out of control? Like I said, early last month, things got heated. Late last month, when Mark Christopher decided to make himself my academic advisor here at Texas Tech School of Law, that's totally uncharacteristic. I never asked for that. And then again with the press stuff this month. How did your own ethical training or background help you respond to these situations. My ethical training is through my granddad, the Holy Bible, and the Lord our God. He said, son, always tell the truth. A lie only gets you busted. What lessons did you learn from dealing with bureaucratic and legal obstacles during this case? I think it's more bureaucratic. I was shocked when the associate dean came to me on December 20th when I was getting ready to meet with my parents to tell me that Mark Christopher was my advisor. If you ask me, it's a stupidity. It's wrong. All right? We just have a few more questions. I'm sorry. Have there been any reforms or changes that came out of your efforts to bring attention to this case? Let me reiterate again, I never meant to bring any attention. That was my father because he got tired of his actions at the Titan Ball. His continued to follow my wife, and especially the flirtations he made towards her in the at the Christmas barbecue in Pinecrest. How has your relationship with the Texas Tech community evolved through all of this? Well, I think it's improved. I think a lot of people that see me around campus, they know me, the large community. The PASS Center, where the testing is done. Registrar's office in the law school and in the regular undergrad, they know me. Staff, they're willing to help. I'm just a friendly West Texas law student who's out there to help try to make a difference in the world, that's all. You mentioned harassment and intimidation from unexpected quarters. Could you elaborate on that? I'd say maybe a bit of intimidation. You see, my family has reason to believe who tipped Paige Hotstiffer, that gossip columnist that the Washington Times sent after me in January. We have a general idea who it is, but my father's team is working on a full-scale investigation. As far as any other legal or any other pressure, not that I know of. I just got back in the full swing of things yesterday. Of course. Now, when the media covered these events, what was your strategy in communicating the truth while protecting your family? The first one in December, I didn't know what to do. I let my father be a judge of that. The second one, as you know, I called the editorial board of the Washington Times. Obviously, they sent you. You're a seasoned contributor to Raynard News and the Washington Times. You know the right things to ask, sure. But looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in how you handled the case. Yeah, I wouldn't have trusted Professor Christopher. He's on the vendetta. What advice would you give to someone who faces institutional resistance while trying to seek justice? Tell the truth. Always tell the truth. Finally, Mr. Hendrix, what is your hope for the future, both personally and professionally, after navigating the challenges that's in this case? My hope for the future is that I'll be able to continue with my work as a law student. I'm not meant to be a purveyor of media of sorts to inflame people's prejudice. Thank you. You're welcome, Ms. Hendrix.